Hey, how's it going? I'm going to read the cards of the day. Now look at some signs, please. Okay, got it. Good. Okay, so I pulled two, just two. The first one was from the Shaman's Dream Oracle, and it was number 54. Right? Oh, sorry. Initiation. And as you can see, there's like a stone bridge, I guess, over an abyss, and that obviously is the crossing. And the initiation thing, well, it'll make more sense when I read what the guidebook had to say, because I actually did that first this time. But it made me think of kind of like, well, not like, kind of absolutely, well, not even kind of. Let me be definitive. It is, to me, is representing kind of the period, God, the period that this country, well, probably a lot of countries are also going through some sort of thing that is similar, but we're in a period of transition. And it's funny, I could have said flux, and for some reason that word came out, but that's part of the transition, is that there are trans people are a big part of the mix. Just, it's funny how stuff just kind of comes together that way. But earlier I did a video and published it, and I talked some about capitalism, and I recently kind of gave like a little bitch fest about a certain sector of Wall Street operators, just because I think it's kind of like detrimental and like a scam and not good for you. So I I thought of this before and after when I was making the video, but I kind of started feeling like it was really long. I don't know if anyone's gonna make it to the end of that one, but I was like, you have to stop. So it was on my mind, and it is part of the change that we're going through, like social change, social justice change. It's all like everybody's in a scrimmage of like trying to gain yards on the side. Some group is eventually going to make a goal with this stuff, but we have to like hash it all out. And I don't know how serious some of us are, because it seems like they want to talk about everything else but the matter at hand sometimes. And it's like, that is a drag on things, a drag on progress, but it's also something that we have to sort out. So, as far as the other financial thing that I was thinking of, that also has to do with the changing, is the actual money itself is changing. Like our financial system is also in flux. And it's not new. Actually, you could say it started when there were apps like PayPal out there, and then like the online sites like Apple came up with their, like, I think they have a credit card, they have like a wallet for the iPhone, devices. And so it's not like it just started yesterday. And cryptocurrency, that's definitely, a change trying to manifest, and it's kind of having some difficulty because of people not really wanting to they want to use it more to get something out of it personally than it being something that can be like a municipal offering, like a bus service. So I guess that it's got to go through its like Wild West period or something. And yeah, it has been going on for like a really long time. Just to briefly touch on Wall Street again, like you used to hear a lot about high-speed trading that was like, in retrospect, it kind of sounds like AI. So maybe it was an early version of it, but brokers, I guess, would program it or whatever, and it would make trades, and at such a like many, I don't know how many, but a lot times faster than a human could. So I never understood how that was operating alongside like just meat people doing it by hand. I suppose I could figure out if I cared that much, but I don't. Just, I mean, you don't have to be close up to it with a microscope to see that it's happening and that it's part of a whole big, I don't know, wave of things going on in that area, financial area for well, everybody. Because obviously, if we do it, it's going to have to be able to be used by other countries as well. And I don't think it's going to be a thing where like the dollar is king. Like maybe, I think it's still got a long ways to go. I talked about this maybe in the last video I did that maybe this part maybe won't get seen. I don't know. But toward a Star Trek type economy. And we got a long way to go before we're willing to just be nice enough to each other to make sure that if I get fed, you get fed. If I live indoors, you live indoors. If I need X thing, then so do you, and we should both have it. And then it would eliminate the harmful side of competition that capitalism now engenders. Like maybe it was a tool and had like a certain purpose, but it's been like mutated and reproduced and just all kinds of cloning and weirdness that, I mean, there's just so many money ways, money appearances, money things that gets done with it. It's just it's like our nation's blood, our everyone's blood, because we all sort of need it to get what we need. So it's like essential to have this currency, but it's like radioactive coin. In my opinion, I really think that if we want to regress rather to a better time, I would like to regress. I want to go back to barter. Because everything now is so complicated and then so easy to like hide and like a tick and suck the blood out of and cheat, and you know, it's not all bad. I know I have a tendency to just say, oh, it's, you know, all this, but nothing is ever just one thing. Can I just put it out there? I might be talking about one specific particular thing in a whole area of the subject. So just because I generalize, don't think that it's not understood that I'm just, again, talking about one specific area of the subject, not the whole thing. So everything else that can be and happen still there. All right, I'm gonna just quickly read this. Oh shoot, that is so bright. The crossing. I have to shade it. I can't believe this. The crossing, rite of passage, initiation. You have come to stand on one side of the river. The opposite bank leads into darkness, into the darkness of the eternal cave, where the old dies and then is born again. Easter, where the old, this is a place where time is forgotten and the seasons cease their dance and stand still, as if in temporary repose. You must cross the river now, honoring and respecting this transition, for it's time to say goodbye to your old ways of navigating the world. Don't be afraid. You've come to the edge of the river because you're ready. You're ready to let go of what doesn't serve you and all of the ways in which you've kept yourself from truly living. Intimacy requires vulnerability and truth. Can you strip away the masks and the barriers of false strength to discover what you're really made of? Step in the boat waiting for you. Let it carry you into the cave where the shadows are waiting to be illuminated, so you can be born again into the world without denial or artifice. Making the crossing is a beautiful, powerful act of the highest love. Two things. The whole getting on the boat and going into the darkness, I'm like, you're going down the river Styx to find the light? Mixed mythical metaphors. And the other thing I thought was well, yeah, I mean, I guess it is kind of a rebirth that we're headed for. But there's a lot of examples of how stuff kind of has to die for new stuff to be born. And I'm specifically thinking here of like fires in the wild, not huge ones that are so destructive like we have now because of the condition of because everything's so dry, including the timber. But when, like in nature, say lightning strikes a fire, and from that, new growth will be. It's like fertilized, I guess. I guess it's the carbon that there's carbon in like burning. I think you need carbon to grow stuff well and for certain things. I don't know, but somehow it nourishes the earth, because from a place that you think it's burnt up, it's dead, what could possibly come from it? Like a lot faster than you would even think. All of a sudden it's green and growing again. And that's when it hasn't gone completely nuts and started burning up everything and everybody everywhere. Ooh, that would be a big fire. Yeah, so, and also, we're standing on the edge, teetering, it sounded like, with fear, to make the crossing, to make the transition into, like, what it looks like on the other side of all this fighting and distrust and just obfuscation. Did I say that right? Obfuscation of, like, what's really happening. Because for some reason slavery came to mind, but it's like it was free labor. No one wanted to give it up, and in order to kind of like mind trip people that they were low and had like no meaning and value, and were therefore not only like relegated to do it, but like born to do it. And they made literally that life for the slaves. Like, you were born into service, and it wasn't voluntary, it was, it's terrible. But why the heck was I using that? Something about the initiation and the crossing over. I don't know where I was going with that. It's going to drive me crazy. And you know what I'm going to remember? when I'm asleep, when you're asleep, when I'm not doing this. Um, oh, okay, I can figure out now where I was going with that. That was a big transition for people. They were really fighting it. They had a whole civil war about it. Some people were like, this isn't really humane, and it wasn't. Like, don't kid yourself. The people that were like, I care about you and love you so much because of what's happening to you, because you're just like me, you just happen to be a different color and have some different features physically. I don't think there was a whole hell of a lot of people that were that way. I think the majority of people were kind of on board with, that's just not cool, man. Like, we can still get work out of them, but what you're doing is just inhumane and cruel. And calm down. I know there were like good plantations and good owners. Okay, you just keep telling yourself that until you've been owned, or your whole, like, sometimes people are just not thinking things through when they start to say something. And I know how that goes because I do it all the time. Hi, Sagittarius. Stuff just flies out before I can even like edit myself sometimes. So anyway, yes, and I can see how that would have been intimidating for like the Southerners that didn't want the system to end. But you know who I bet was really scared? The black people, but happy. And can you imagine just like, it's a whole new world, or whatever that thing is? But oh shoot, I hope I got it wrong. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? Like, they couldn't probably imagine, or they could probably only imagine being, relatively free. The life was still hard though. But what could they have expected other than what they were already used to, like the general treatment as people? Like, drop away the shackles and the ownership. You still are not liked. You're still thought of as lesser, and it hasn't ended. There are still people. Wow. Okay, so I've heard the slogan, and it just irritates me. Black people are ruining everything. I feel like it's like an after effect of that, like a genetic memory. Like, it's not like none of the infrastructure for it is true anymore, socially or economically or materially. But man, that stain just won't go away. And so these people might not even have ever like owned slaves like their ancestors, right? But the thing is like, that's given as an excuse. And on one hand, they had like not much more control if they were just poor and had to fight just as hard almost as the slave people did. But they had one thing: they were free. And so like the whole like way of life kind of disappeared, and that's traumatizing. But it doesn't excuse the fact that they didn't really do anything to stop it from happening. Some, I'm sure, did. There's that Matthew McConaughey movie in Florida with the runaway slaves. Like, that was people coming together. But given what happened, I kind of think they were few and far between. And if they were open about it, they were looked down upon. And oh God, we have such barriers to clear thought. barriers to clear thought, in case you didn't hear that breathy comment. So yeah, now we are all, the world, on the verge of taking a big step. And I think like I said, the thing, it didn't just start it, like it's part of a wave. But I guess we're getting close to it, like hitting the ground, hitting the sand, because so many sectors are just like the economic sector. You get those reports. I think officially right now it's kind of freaked out. People definitely freaked out. People of means acting like they're freaked out, maybe the ones that are in front of cameras and microphones, but they are probably doing all right as long as they're not somewhere that gets shot up. You know what I mean? It's a spectrum. But the future's unwritten. We really don't know what's going to happen. A lot of people fear utter chaos. I think we're already in utter chaos a little bit. So deep breaths, just sort of like hitch up your under britches and whatever. Gender up. I'll just go completely neutral on that one. Okay, and the other card that I pulled was from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. Got it right. Oh, now it's going to be all hard to shuffle. Shoot. Okay, I got the octopus card. And it's in the inky. Like, maybe it lost control of its ink cloaca for a minute. No, obviously it's in deep water. And it's in the deep state. The thing about the deep state is the deep state couldn't exist and have every other thing existing because, like, it's all behind stuff, I guess. But it's like another dimension, and it's only this much behind stuff. It's right there. And by which I mean to say that I don't think that it's happening and no one's aware of it. I don't think it's happening and people are not in some way a part of it on both sides. I mean, think about it. There's a certain level in government of one hand not knowing what the other one's doing, but at the same time, if there's a substructure or alter structure, like right up along the one that's supposed to be the real one, and this is the deep one, there's got to be connections. There's got to be tentacles that get into every aspect of operations on both sides, and people have to be aware of it. And maybe people that are aware of it, because I'm okay. If there's a deep state, I'm gonna say it's the Black Ops sort of section of, I don't know, dark government. And remember renditioning? Like, just because we're not talking about stuff like that doesn't mean those things are not still happening. Because when we think of this country being at war, we think of one war, the one with Russia and Ukraine, and we're not even actually in that one. We're just aiding our ally. And actually, I think that our poor president is taking a lot of guff from Russia's president about America's involvement when they're just, again, helping the ally, and also saying no a bunch of times to a bunch of things that would really actually screw Russia up. So I don't know. It's that thing where you're throwing up all of this static and like just bull confetti. And it's just obscuring what you're seeing, because they don't want you to actually see. But, I'm not going to go into all that. Another thing I thought of, but yeah, when we think of wars, like Right now, we're not in a war, like we got out of Afghanistan, but I think we are actually in Iraq still. But there's always things going on, conflicts and conflagrations that this country ends up in with our army in there dicking around doing God knows what until we find out later, oh crap, what did they do now? No, no, no. No. Jeez. I like to have a little something going on in the background. This is free, so anyway. What another thing I thought of, and probably immediately, was the way that people are. Well, okay, the octopus is capable of something kind of incredible. Well, no, the octopus is capable of something incredible, and it is even more than a cat. They can conform to almost any shape. They only got one place in their body that's resolutely hard, and it's their, I'm going to call it a beak. And I know that people do call it that. I don't think that's the actual zoological name, but I'm not here to do that. But the way that they can get into everywhere with all those little tentacles was making me think of how people think that because they feel that a man or a woman should be and do one certain thing in one certain way, and they want to like interfere with other people that you're not even supposed to be trying to have any control over. Was I just not talking about supposedly we gave up that stuff where we're all up into people's lives and controlling them? And my thought is always immediately, what are you talking about? Do you want people to do that to you? But it doesn't seem like people think that when they're saying things. Like, I'm not of childbearing years or plumbing anymore, but it still offends the hell out of me that some woman I don't know, and in some cases it's a white woman that thinks I don't know because I'm a black woman, and like, I need your help, stranger? No, hi, I'm already real old and got along just fine without you. Why are you trying to horn in now? And by the way, I don't care about you. I don't even want to stick a tendril into your whatever. Yeah, it's intrusive. And the nerve. Who do you think you are? But it's worked on a level. And that's kind of what it makes me think of. Because it's not just about choice. It's about so many things. I'm not going to go into a big one here now because I should probably stop talking. It's good. I've made my point. I will quickly read what the guidebook has to say about the octopus. Reaching, yearning, lacking boundaries and direction. Lacking boundaries. Mind your own business. Stay in your own garden fence area. Sorry, going off a little bit. The octopus, it's a hole now? It's a building? The octopus signifies a wonderfully perceptive mind paired with a lack of healthy boundaries. Unfortunately, this results in well-intended but messy relationships. The octopus entwines itself into other people's business and shares their own without restraint. They believe that's what it means to be close. If you notice after spending time with someone that you feel drained or uneasy, the essence of the octopus is at play. Oh, how playful. Begin to establish healthy boundaries. Be patient and firm. It may be a very old habit and therefore hard to change. Well, actually, I added the and therefore. When in balance, interested, engaged, intelligent, and I would say, never mind, I don't need to say anything. When out of balance, needy, clingy, lacks courage. That's a little bit of stinky side eye for certain people. To bring into balance, space to oneself, talk therapy. I think I might have mentioned something close to that with the sort of a little bit of self-reflection when making the comments. And I say that with a certain extra level of meaning because I do it all the time. Not on purpose, not even trying to be insulting, but sometimes, especially when it's someone you're talking to online that you just don't know at all, really. You don't know if you could just suddenly say the wrong thing and they're like, you're over, we're done. And that is also something that I deal with, but that moves into the area of unconditional love, and I'm still a bit conditional. It is a hard habit to break. Thank you and good night.